Hi, welcome. I want to talk about 8 mistruths that I've been told at various stages of my menopausal transition, some numerous times. These are things that certain individuals believe to be true, but are actually false, myths, mistruths, or half-truths. And had I not done my own research, they would have made my menopausal journey a lot scarier and tougher than it had to be. And I'm not alone. These common misconceptions are being shared with women around the globe based on the thousands of women I've spoken to over the last few years. So let's talk about them. I'm starting with the one that stunned me the most. A couple of years ago, I went in for an appointment about body-wide aching, and I had a doctor tell me that menopause doesn't cause pain. And that's not the first time I've heard that. It was a male doctor, by the way. I'm sure a rare few do sail through menopause without so much as a hiccup, but for the vast majority of women, when declining estrogen jacks up inflammation and the loss of collagen that comes with aging, it affects every joint, muscle, tendon, ligament. You get the picture. Frozen shoulder, joint issues, tendinitis, achiness, and feeling like you're 150 years old are common for middle-aged women. I'm sure many of you know exactly what I'm talking about. HRT can help. Unfortunately, I can't use it. Luckily, I struck gold with liquid collagen. I could barely function in perimenopause, but I'm living my life much more comfortably now. Number 2, symptoms go away once you reach menopause. I've been told many times that if you're struggling with symptoms and discomforts in postmenopause, it's not menopause related because you're long past menopause. I've also been asked many times by concerned women why they're continuing to deal with issues in postmenopause when they're years past menopause. The truth is, menopause doesn't come with an off switch. I wish it did, but unfortunately, the retiring of the ovaries is a permanent state that women remain in for life. Some ladies do feel much better sometime into postmenopause, but many continue to struggle with several symptoms. Anxiety, hot flashes, vaginal atrophy, and bladder discomforts are common ones. Working to improve quality of life and health is just as important in postmenopause as it is in perimenopause. The next mistruth is you're not in perimenopause if your periods aren't changing and you're not skipping cycles. While it is true that some women don't realize they're in perimenopause until their cycles start to act up, it's also very common to have regular periods for some time into perimenopause. My introduction into perimenopause was a frozen shoulder, then dizziness, then unprovoked anger and adrenaline surges, and so on. My periods didn't start shifting until about a year into perimenopause. If weird and not so wonderful things are happening to you that the doctor can't explain and you're middle-aged, it could very well be perimenopause even if your cycles are regular. Number 4, menopause only causes a few symptoms like hot flashes, mood swings, weight gain, and missing periods. I think almost every appointment I went to where I went in for menopause was met with the questions, are you having hot flashes, and do you still have menstrual cycles? I can't tell you how many symptoms and discomforts I've had over the years, but I have never had a hot flash. They're very common, but they're not the universal sign of menopause for every woman. The truth is there are over 100 possible symptoms that can manifest in menopause. If you do a bit of digging, you'll find the information. It is out there. The true effects menopause can have on women are slowly becoming known. I have a video listing all 100 symptoms if you're interested. I'll leave the link in the description. This next one just makes me angry. I've dealt with it numerous times and many women share my experience. It's not menopause causing all of those symptoms. It's anxiety. I'm sure many of you made an angry face the minute I said that. Yes, anxiety can and does occur in midlife, and it can bring about other symptoms. But it's often the menopausal changes causing and worsening anxiety and other symptoms, not anxiety alone triggering all of the chaos. I don't know how many times I've explained that it's menopause causing my anxiety issues, not anxiety causing my menopause issues. It's so frustrating. Here's a classic that's been told to me and I still hear women talking about. You're way too young for menopause. There seems to be a common misconception that menopause is only for women over 50. So not true. I think this came to be because perimenopause was never even really considered a thing until recently. The average age for menopause is 51, and perimenopause can begin up to a decade before that. So if women are hitting menopause between 46 and 56, perimenopause can begin between 36 and 46, give or take a couple of years. If you're over 35 and dealing with symptoms and discomforts, do have them checked. But if the doctor doesn't find a cause, perimenopause may very well be the culprit. Number 7, in perimenopause, your periods will become farther apart and eventually stop. Now there's a half-truth if I ever heard one. There are always exceptions, and I'm sure for a rare few this is the entire truth. But for most women, it's not that simple. There's an entire gray area of unwanted possibilities being left out of that statement. Periods can become very chaotic and unpredictable before they decide to stop for good. They do eventually become farther apart, but they can also become closer together, much heavier, lighter, much longer where you're convinced they'll never stop, and off continually. It can be very scary, and it's important to be followed by a doctor during this time just to make sure all is well. But often, it's just all part of perimenopause. Next, I've received dozens upon dozens of comments from women saying they wish they'd had hysterectomies in order to avoid menopause and the symptoms. While it's true you will avoid the periods and the chaos they bring, a hysterectomy does not necessarily guarantee a lack of symptoms, and you will still go through menopause. How quickly depends on whether or not your ovaries have been removed. If you keep your ovaries, you will go through perimenopause just without the periods. If your ovaries are removed, you will jump straight into postmenopause, which can be a very jarring experience. For those who required the procedure for bleeding issues in midlife, though, I'm told it's a welcome procedure, even if they do have to deal with a few symptoms afterward. There are many more mistruths and half-truths about menopause, and I invite you to add one in the comments if you think it deserves to be on the list. I wish health, happiness, and peace of body and mind for each of you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.